For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Fulta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Hey, everybody. Welcome on in. Welcome to Mammoth Daily. Adrian Denny with you, your host on Hockey Night in Utah on the radio. Mike Fulta, our radio play-by-play announcer, will be along with our analyst, Nick Olczyk. Coming up in Mike's Morning After as we break down last night's 4-1 win in Detroit. Mammoth did exactly what we thought they do. We've seen them do it before. Disappointing game. Went completely south, completely haywire, and they bounced back and they did it. Just like after the Vegas game, just like after the San Jose game, and they got another result after the Boston game. You know, it's a team that is constantly growing, and they focus on stuff, and they get better on stuff. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about getting to the interior, and this team's making strides to do that offensively, and it's all hands on deck. And a goal score from all four lines happened on Wednesday night with Kevin Stenlund, Dylan Gunther, Jack McBain, and Clayton Keller all scoring goals. And 3 of the 4 goals came within 16 feet of the net. So didn't generate a lot of offense Tuesday in Boston, regrouped Wednesday, came back at it. We know how to generate offense by getting to the net. And the guys did that. We'll hear from Mike Fulta, Nick Olczyk coming up in the morning after, but let's get Andre Turney's thoughts. Let's start with the head coach after the game on Wednesday night as the Mammoth pick up a big victory.
Obviously, it's a lot of guys played well tonight. There's so really everywhere. If you look at our decor, we're rock solid. Our goalie was rock solid. I like our 4 lines. I think Stanny's line was really good. I think Booter his line had a really good game. He had a good game as well. A few exceptions, but he played good. Barrett Tatum, maybe his best game of the year. So, and obviously our first line scored the first goal and a key goal at the end as well. So 4-0 at 5-on-5 against the second team in the Eastern Conference. We'll take that at the end of the 3 and 4 in the road. I'm really proud of the effort and the character of our guys. They were tuned in. I saw a group who. That group has a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of character. There's nobody perfect in the world, but those guys care a ton, and they want to be successful together. And they showed it tonight in a character situation. Well, we need to keep rolling. I think we're playing a simpler game with more drive, with more net presence, with more dirty goal going in dirty area, and I think that pay off. And that if you look, our first 2 goals are what I call blue paint goals, where you go to the net and then after the rest open up, and then we had a few good plays here and there. But I think we need to keep going and make not the transition, because we work at it for a while, but we need to keep pounding the message and keep taking pride at doing it.
So there's head coach Andre Turney after the game on Wednesday night. You know, you can tell how much he loves his group. And are they perfect? Have they been perfect? No, but they keep working every day, and they keep building on their results. You know, the great October used their speed, their skill, their newness, and then, you know, teams adjust. Teams get better defensively, and you just got to keep going. You know, I heard Seattle head coach Lane Lambert after their game on Tuesday night say, well, it wasn't on the game on Tuesday night. He only had about a minute there. But on Wednesday after practice, he was talking about, we're not winning right now, but we're playing better hockey than when we were winning. And that's because everybody in the National Hockey League is constantly getting better, constantly evolving, and you gotta keep up with them. And the Mammoth have been part of that. And it's a team growing, and there's no golden tickets in the NHL. You sign JJ Peterka to that 5-year deal after trading for him. You sign Nate Schmidt. You add a veteran in Brandon Tanev, and you think, okay, year older, we've added these guys, golden ticket, just won 7 games in a row. Let's go. It's going to click, and it did. You won 7 in a row, and general manager Bill Armstrong saying on the radio this week on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone with Hans and Scotty, we got off to maybe a little better start than we thought, but we're kind of exactly where we expected to be at this point, with a chance to go above that playoff line, be in the hunt to go above that playoff line when you get settled into a schedule here. But the one thing in the NHL, it's the last thing that you do when you build a team and they grow. It's learning how to win, and it's experiencing that as a group and going through the ups and the downs. And in the NHL every day, if you had the answers, if you had the golden ticket as a coach, as a player, as a broadcaster, right? We're watching this team and seeing it evolve, and our analysis evolves as we watch them and we watch the National Hockey League. But seeing teams like Florida and LA and Boston that Utah struggled with in the last couple of weeks, I think the number one thing that stood out is the identity, the fabric, that culture of winning. And if you don't win, did you play the game that you want to see? Were you the best version of yourself? Did you play to your identity? And I think for the Mammoth, that's the biggest thing right now that they're working through. And I think the Detroit Red Wings are working through the exact same thing. Their head coach, Todd McClellan, was asked on Wednesday, or it was Tuesday after the game, after they beat the Islanders and the first game of that back-to-back before they played Utah. And somebody said, do you think you figured this team out? Do you think they've figured it out? They've won 5 of 6. They're in first place, but like Utah, trying to get over that line and be in the playoffs. Detroit has missed the playoffs 9 straight years. That they're trying to make that jump to become a playoff team. That every year playoff teams like Vegas, like Tampa, like Colorado, like Boston had been. But that's the toughest part, is making that jump to get there. And hearing from Seattle's Lane Lambert saying, gosh, we're playing better now than we were when we were in first place, hot out of the gates in October and in early November. And you just got to keep growing. You got to keep evolving. And as a group, that's where it happens, not by adding a JJ Peterka, though it did have immediate results, but it's just that growing together. And for Utah, big part of that is finding offense against big, heavy teams and getting to the interior. And they did that on Wednesday night. Big test is going to be doing that on Friday night when they take on a New Jersey team that they scored 1 goal against last year, a playoff team in 2 of the last 3 seasons. So that's the next test. But I thought we saw 2 similar teams on Wednesday night. 2 teams that think they have each other figured out, have themselves figured out, but do they really? Detroit probably feeling a lot like Utah did after the Boston game. Meanwhile, Utah's feeling like Detroit felt Tuesday night when they had just won 5 of 6 and came from behind in the third period to erase a deficit and beat the Islanders. Just trying to build that consistency. And that's the word we used coming out of training camp, was consistency. It's what we're going to be saying all year for this team, trying to find their consistency. But it was a good step. another bounce back that we expected to see on Wednesday night. Karel Vejmelka now leads the NHL in wins, 15-9-2. He's won 5 of his last 7 starts, and he's really looked good. Stopped 27 of 28, but he's had his moments. He's been a really good number 1 goaltender, and his work as a whole this season so far with 15 wins, it's another guy you're looking right at and saying, yeah, that's a guy who's growing with this group and with this team, and consistency. That's the big word. Before we get to Nick and Mike, let's hear what Jack McBain said after the game. He scored his second goal of the year. It turned out to be the game winner, second goal in the last 5 games for Jack. And how great has that line been with him and Michael Carcone and Daniel Boot? Here's Jack on just moving forward.
It's great. I think it's a tough road trip. Those are all really good teams. So to get 4 points there is really good. And I think, like you said, a really good response after that Boston game. So it was really good for us. We've had a lot of talks this year, and talking's one thing, being able to do it's another. So I thought it was really good putting it into action. Yeah. When you have the lead, you don't want to necessarily play like it. It's a 0-0 game. You got to still keep going and kind of put pressure on them. And I thought we did a good job of that. So. Just keep going, keep getting the puck in deep.
So there's Jack McBain, another good one. It was all hands on deck. 9 guys had at least a point. Captain Clayton Keller had 2 points. We'll dial in on the captain coming up in our third period after we get to our Thursday expert with Tyson Nash, because really want to get into it on Clayton Keller and the game that he had for the Mammoth on Wednesday night. But let's get to the morning after with Mike and Nick. They called the game for us on the radio as the Mammoth stayed undefeated on national TV, 4-1 over Detroit on Wednesday night.
Mike and Nick's morning after here on Mammoth Daily, following a 4-1 win for the
Utah Mammoth. It's got a ring
Mammoth.
to it, doesn't it? Mike and Nick's. Like Mike's is nice, but Mike and Nick's. That's got a good ring to it, especially this time of the year, Mikey. When things are ringing, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, I do kind of like Mike's morning after. It's Jersey Mike. It's not Jersey Mike and Nick's.
Okay, do we have a Jersey Mike sponsor yet?
Possibly you,
Jersey?
investors. Possibly you.
Come on, guys.
Well, we have New Jersey coming in on Friday, but let's talk Red Wings Mammoth first. 4-1. Utah pulls away in the fourth. We just finished up the broadcast. We're here at beautiful.
Check that out. Check that arena out.
You can see these little the like kind of the black boxes up here. That's where the banners stream down from.
It's a beautiful arena. Yeah. Not as beautiful as Delta Center. That's a fact. But still a very beautiful arena here in the place they call Hockey Town.
Now you're holding the phone, so you got to hold it the whole time. Nah, it's okay.
I got it. Is this thing on? Hello? Hello?
This is great.
Oh, sorry. Any bats in the cave? No? Okay, thanks. There we go.
Nick, this was a character win, I think.
It was. This was a game where it could have gone the other way. 2-0 after 2 second period goals. And then the Detroit Red Wings found their footing on the power play. And look, the penalty kill for the Mammoth has been excellent lately. They've been clearing pucks. They haven't had many turnovers that have been kept in by other team power plays. I think their pressure up the ice, especially at the blue line, has given power plays a lot of fits, because then all of a sudden, if it's not easy to get in the zone, sometimes you got to chip it in, and it takes everybody out of the same rhythm for power plays. I think that's why it was so good. Now, yes, the Red Wings did get a PPG in this game to bring it to within 1, and there was a thought that maybe it would have been challenged by the Mammoth video coaching staff, but I thought the right decision not to, because it was so close to see if it was a hand pass or not behind the net by Andrew Kopp. But at the end of the day, the right decision made, because if you do challenge and you're wrong, the Red Wings go right back to the power play. They would have had a chance to make it a 2-2 game. But to your question, Mike, I just thought that they stayed with it.
Yeah.
They stayed within their structure, and they continue to push the pace north, avoiding any sort of risk in their game once they did have that 1-goal lead.
Every line scored a goal tonight for the Utah Mammoth. Stellan on the fourth, McBain on the third, Gunther on the second, Keller on the first. And those were all at 5-on-5. I thought Mikhail Sergachev was really good defending. You pointed out a couple times tonight.
At the net.
Defenseman boxing out at the net front.
And the key to a box out is to keep your body between your goaltender, who tonight was Karel Vejmelka, and the offensive player. So that way they don't only have to go through your hands if you go through and poke check or go under their stick or over their stick, but they also have to go through your body. You're limiting so much what that forward can do in such little space already existing at the net front. And I thought Mikhail Sergachev led the way in that regard. And look, he's a big guy. He's 6'3", so he takes up a lot of space as is, but it's one thing to have size, another thing to use it. Is the guy they call Sergey going to run someone through the glass every game? No. But there's effective ways to use your size to get in the way, force the opposition to go through you. I thought he was a mammoth of a defenseman tonight, pun intended. And my arm is, Mike, you got to take this. My arm is crying.
Podcasting is hard work. Podcasting is very hard work.
This is podcast. I thought this was the morning after.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Well, it's the morning after.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's what I said.
We're on the same boat.
That's what I said.
You're right. You're always right. But I think the game management, the physicality for me was really encouraging on a back-to-back where Utah had only won once so far this year. So they kind of shake that off. I like the little rhubarb after some of these coming together. You know, there's some feistiness out there. But the Mammoth weren't really dragged into it, save for that one moment where Crouse gets tagged with the penalty. Yeah. But even then, the game management, it felt like everybody had their antennas up, making sure that they were handling leads the right way. And even though Crouse took that penalty, that was a back and forth with him and Larkin. I didn't feel like anybody
could have taken both.
Focus.
Could have taken them both on the penalty, but that's beside the point. But as you're saying, Mikey, you're talking about managing the game, antennas up. With that being said, right after the Detroit Red Wings made it a 2-1 game, head coach Andre Turney, the first line he sent out on that next shift after, we talk about it all the time, important to have a great shift after a goal against. Yeah. He sent out the top line, Keller, Schmaltz, and Peterka. They had a positive shift. They defended a bit in their zone, but towards the end of it, they were able to move the puck up ice, and then he came right out with the third line, Carcone, McBain, and Boot, and they pushed the pace. They spent probably 25 seconds in the Red Wings zone, got an offensive zone faceoff. So there you're able to do two things. First, you stop Detroit's momentum, and then you get a little bit more on your side, and then you're able to get an O-zone draw and go to work from there to try to force the Red Wings to, if they want to score and tie it, they got to go 200 feet through your forwards, your defensemen, and then your goaltender. So managing leads, I thought they did a great job, especially when it was a 2-1 hockey game.
This was a swing game because you win it, and now you've won 3 or 4. You've won 2 or 3 on the road trip. You feel great coming home. You lose it. Whoa, all of a sudden you're back below 500, and you've lost 2 in a row. After winning 2 in a row, it's here we go again. But the Mammoth get it done. Now my arm's getting tired. We're 6 minutes in. So.
Mammoth Nation is never tired, though. And Mikey, I want you to tell everybody out there, what is it that you would like for Christmas? We talked about, I'm going to buy you a little bit of time here. We talked about it on the broadcast.
I gave you an answer.
But we want the Mammoth Daily listeners to hear firsthand, what is it that you would like for Christmas? And my name is Nick. I do have a connection to Saint Nick, so I can let the elves know only if you're on the nice list.
Those ears, they are a little pointy.
Yeah, they are. This time of the year.
I wish for one thing every year.
Okay. A Red Ryder BB gun.
I wish for a white Christmas.
Okay.
I wish for snow.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
And I just think the story for Utah is just been that drive, that push to get to the net consistently, find a way to score goals. Utah now in 3 of the last 4 games has gotten at least one 5-on-5 goal from 3 of their 4 lines. And that tells you that this group is making strides and getting better. And what I like about them is they go through their games where they're not perfect, and they get upset. They look at them, and they come back the next day and get better. And we're only 36 games into the season, and still a lot more room to grow. Let's get to head coach Andre Turney on just getting to the net.
Well, we need to keep rolling. I think we're playing a simpler game with more drive, with more net presence, with more dirty goal going in dirty area, and I think that pay off. And that if you look at our first 2 goals, they're what I call blue paint goals, where you go to the net, and then after the rest open up, and then we had a few good plays here and there. But I think we need to keep going and make not the transition, because we work at it for a while, but we need to keep pounding the message and keep taking pride at doing it.
So head coach Andre Turney there, just talking about guys getting to the net. Adrian Tenney with you on Mammoth Daily. Thanks for joining us, whether you're on the Utah Mammoth YouTube page, SEG Plus, Mammoth Plus, or listening on the audio versions. Apple, Spotify, if you usually do video, you have audio as an option. You got YouTube as an option if you're one of our Apple and Spotify users. So feel free to take advantage, tell a friend, and thanks for joining us, as always, here on Mammoth Daily. Coming up, we've got our Thursday Expert Edition with Tyson Nash, who was a color commentator for the team in their former home, and saw guys like Lawson, Crouse, and Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller start out in the NHL and keep growing. And we'll talk to Tyson about that and just some other stuff going on around the National Hockey League. He's got the national duties as well with Amazon. He's got the Nashcast podcast, which has Mike Weir on it this week. And he's got 2 Nashcast altcasts on Mammoth Plus and SEG Plus coming up during the games Friday and Sunday that he's going to tell us about. And then we're going to come back and talk about Clayton Keller because he had a heck of a game on Wednesday night, dragging the team into the fight as he does. So thanks for joining us on this Thursday after 2 points in Detroit, right here on Mammoth Daily.
Let's hear from the experts.
Time for our Thursday expert, and who better to bring in than the old saddlebag himself, Tyson Nash.
I just rode in on my horse, boys. What's crack-a-lackin'? Expert.
You look tan, Tyson.
Faults. I almost spit my dentures out. Expert? Really? You clearly haven't Wikipedia'd me. You haven't hockey DB'd me or whatever the hell that is. But I appreciate it. My goodness. I got to get a recording of this. Expert. I love that. I'm going to tell my kids and my wife. So, I'm an expert. Respect your father.
That's right. Well, Tyson, we wanted to bring you in for the laughs, but also because we wanted to kind of get your take on some of these Utah guys that you've seen the last couple years in Arizona. And, you've been with some of these guys during the lows, and now the Mammoth have won a few games. And some of these guys are playing big roles on a team that's trying to compete in the playoffs. One of those guys is Nick Schmaltz. He's been on Utah's top group. He's been one of this group's leading scorers going back to the Arizona days. But now, with no Logan Cooley, Nick Schmaltz has made the move from wing to center. And maybe we just start with Nick Schmaltz, the person, and we can get to that transition from wing to center in a little bit. But you're around Nick Schmaltz, and he's kind of nonchalant, right? Like he kind of seems, just like I don't know, like he's in his own world, right? In a good way. But what are some things about Nick Schmaltz that people might not know just from watching him, on TV?
I think originally, and I was a part of it when, the Coyotes way back when made that trade for Nick Schmaltz, right? And he comes to your team and you're watching and you're like, this guy is just so calm, cool, and relaxed, and nothing phases him at all, right? But then you're like, no, this is just how this guy works. And the more I watched him year after year after year, and how consistent and how he manages the highs and lows, I don't know if it gets any better than Nick Schmaltz, right? Because nothing phases him. And in the National Hockey League, how you get out of slumps, because every player goes through them, every team goes through them, and sometimes you panic, sometimes you start squeezing your stick a little bit too tight. That never happens with Nick Schmaltz. Nick Schmaltz just goes about his business in a business type way, right? And I think a lot of young players can learn from a guy like Schmaltz because he is unfazed and he just shows up to work every day and battles and does what he does, which is produce points. And as you just mentioned, he's now going from wing to center, and you think that that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. It's a major deal. Now the responsibility is tenfold, right? When you bring a young player in the National Hockey League, you put him on the wing, right? If he's a centerman, you put him on the wing because it just dumbs it down a little bit more for him. It simplifies the game. All you're worried about is the slot in the defensive zone. All you're worried about is the defenseman on your side and making sure he doesn't get a shot off. So for Nick Schmaltz to go to center, now you're focused on faceoffs, right? Which are, to me, one of the most important. Forget all the analytics. If I'm really just breaking down analytics, I'm looking at faceoffs. If you're watching this, work on your faceoffs. You'll play 8 to 10 more minutes a game if you can win a faceoff, right? In the defensive zone, in the offensive zone, because you want to start out with the puck. That's the quickest way to generate offense, but it's not easy. So Nick Schmaltz has that responsibility now. Now you're also the down low guy in the defensive zone. So you are blowing energy trying to defend, right? You're helping the defenseman out. First defenseman goes in. The second support guy is the centerman. That is not easy to do. Now you're on your heels, but you also want the puck in Nick Schmaltz's hands. And he's going to have the puck more times than not because now he's in the center ice position. He dictates, does the puck go to the left winger? Does it go to the right winger? Right? So lots more responsibilities. He's very capable of it. And in fact, short term, I think it'll bring out the best in Nick Schmaltz. And, he's versatile. And those players do not grow on trees. So that's a luxury.
Tyson, he got off to such a great start with all the points in October. And, as Utah playing without Logan Cooley right now, he's moved into that center role. And you just explained how he's become so valuable. But Bear kind of alluding to us last week before he had that big game against Seattle. Yeah, he's doing so much for us that doesn't show up in terms of points. And he's kind of drug us into the fight in this situation, kind of leading the way. And you've got so many guys on this team like Clayton Keller and Dylan Guenther, but to have Schmaltz be mentioned in that way, I thought was a real compliment to him and the season he's put together so far.
And he's a guy who flies under the radar, right? I don't think he's a guy. If you're in the opposition's locker room, I'm not sure the other team. And it's a good thing for Utah because I don't think they have him circled, highlighted in bold on the whiteboard, right? They have Keller, they have Guenther, they have Cooley, they have Sergachev on the back end, right? They have Vejmelka. But I don't think Schmaltz is a guy that they have circled on there because he does fly so much under the radar, but he touches so many different areas of the game for Andre Turney. And if you're Andre Turney, you're looking down the bench and you see Schmaltz, you're a pretty happy camper, right? And the year that he's had, the points he's put up, and where ultimately he and the rest of the offensive guys have put this team. And I don't know years past, I can tell you I'm almost 99% sure we haven't been where we are in the standings right now in years past. And that's what you want. You just want to be in the conversation. You want to be in the fight. You want to be fighting for the playoffs at this time before Christmas. Are you kidding me? And as bad as Utah has played in moments this year, I mean, at one point they lost 9 of 11 games, I think. Yeah. So they're still right there at 500. And Nick Schmaltz is a massive part of it. He's in a contract year as well. So, that's on the back of his mind. And I'm sure for Bill Armstrong and Clayton Keller, who they have chemistry like no other. They are like Batman and Robin. We say it all the time. How they cycle the puck. They put the spin cycle on in the offensive zone for the opposition. But you just cannot talk about Nick Schmaltz enough.
I'm curious, Tyson, like a two-way centerman we've seen the last few Stanley Cup winners have elite, like Selke caliber two-way centerman. You think of the
I love it. Even the guy with the pipes like you messes up every once in a while, eh? Swollen tongue. I was just gonna stop you there, Fultz. What's going on? Like, where's the mistletoe, AD? Like, is it right between you and Fultz? Am I gonna see some magic happen between you two? And what is the star? Where's the angel? I mean, are you an angel guy or are you a star guy? So that's a question for you guys. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Don't even know where the star came from, Tyson. I'm putting up the Christmas tree on Saturday. I'm pulling everything out of the box. I'm like, Never seen this star before in my life. I've never put a star on a Christmas tree before. No idea where it came from.
Were you at Hobby Lobby, AD? You were at Hobby Lobby. You painted that bad boy up there. I just want to know where the mistletoe is. That when one of your dates walks in the door? That's how you break the ice. It's right at the front door, eh? Let's go. Let's hot lips Houlihan. Let's strap one on me.
Oh, season's greetings. Holy. and Nasher, this is canned water, by the way, not something else. I didn't want you to get any ideas when I took a
Well,
sip
you got
there.
a big game. You got a big game tonight. Boston Bruins. I don't know when this is released, but I always look forward to your guys' podcast, catching up on the Utah Mammoth. I'm stuck here poolside near Arizona, so I look forward to it, boys. Education 101.
Well, okay, what I was trying to say before when I had marbles in my mouth was the Selke caliber centerman of the last few Stanley Cup winners. You think of the Florida Panthers with Sasha Barkov. You think of the Vegas Golden Knights with Jack Eichel. How do you rank the importance of the positions, Tyson? Goaltender, number one defenseman, or top line two-way centerman? Like, if you had to build around one, what would you try and build a team around if you were a GM? And if you were a GM, God help us.
Yeah. Oh God. Both. I mean, you need both. I mean, and that's what you're building towards, right? It always comes down to your goaltender. Number one, defense. If you have an offensive defenseman, those guys do not grow on trees. Jack Hughes, we just saw him traded to Minnesota Wild. You saw what was given up to get him. You know what kind of contract Quinn Hughes, excuse me, is coming his way, right? He wants to play with Jack Hughes. He wants to play with Luke Hughes eventually. You know that. Can the Wild sell him on Minnesota to sign him to a long-term contract? But those guys, that's why they make the big money, right? Because it's the hardest thing to do is put the puck in the back of the net. So first of all, I'm thinking offense from my blue line, and then I'm thinking offense and size, if you can have it, and shutdown ability for your number one centerman. And a guy like Barkov, he's Kopitar. He's today's Kopitar, right? This guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's got now 2 Stanley Cups in his back pocket. He's coming up, or he's dealing with an injury right now. They're hoping to get him back by playoff time, but it doesn't get much more important than a guy like Barkov, a guy like Kopitar. But easier said than done. I don't think Nick Schmaltz is there yet. I don't think he's in that conversation just yet to be a shutdown guy. I think he's just more of an offensive guy. And I'm sure that's, as this team grows, if they can make the playoffs, those are the type of players that Bill Armstrong is going to have to go out and get, is a guy like that if they want to do some damage in the playoffs, because playoff hockey is like no other. It is the best time of the year, but it's also the hardest, most fatiguing time. And this group has not been there in a long, long time. And I know that's their goal this year.
Tyson, talk to us about Lawson Crouse. He's one of the 3 that have been together for almost a decade, that have stayed together, that Bill Armstrong has kept together, his core guys, his glue guys, with Crouse and Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller. And he was named associate captain 4 days after Keller was made the captain. He's another guy that flies under the radar. He's a quiet guy out front, but in the locker room, he's different. And watching him on the ice, he's an impact guy that's a big part of the success in 5-on-5 play and penalty kill and more.
Well, I think before we hit record on this podcast, he's also one of those guys, as you guys touched on, that if Andre Turney needs, to kickstart somebody, a line, that's where Lawson Crouse goes, right? That's where they peg him in, because he brings out the best in everyone. He drags everyone into the fight, how he plays. And he's probably, for me, guys, and I do a lot of traveling with Amazon. I'm in New York. And probably the most person I get asked about on the Utah Mammoth is, first of all, Clayton Keller, if he's going to make Team USA, if he can, be in that conversation for the Olympics, which I think he certainly has to be on that team. They didn't win 4 Nations. You have to make some changes. Clayton Keller is a point-a-game guy. He's really competitive, and he could help that team. But Lawson Crouse is the second guy that everyone asks me about, just because he's so big. He has that Tom Wilson maybe bite to his game as well as the offensive side of it as well. He'll fight, he can hit, and he can score. So those guys are hard to come by. He's a perfect leader in that locker room. And he's another guy that just goes about his business the right way. He punches the clock. He puts the work boots and the hard hat on. Looks like I got my hard hat on right now with this hairdo I got going. But that's what Lawson Crouse, as you guys know, brings to the table. I've watched this guy since he first came into the league, and he is a special, special player.
I thought I just saw a bird fly out of there or something. But
that was my nostril. That was a bat. Bat in the cane, boys. I got to trim these things, too. I got a big Christmas party tonight.
Well, one last one for me, Tyson. I just wanted to open it up. Like in your Amazon travels, who player or team has stood out to you in games that you've been covering when you're checking in on the rest of the NHL doing the prime games?
Well, and a lot of times when you're so close to the forest, right, you watch the struggles of the Utah Mammoth, and so good out of the gates. They were the talk of the National Hockey League. Then they hit a skid, but you realize when you do other teams and you're broadcasting for all these other networks, every team goes through it. I was there with the Boston Bruins. They were like almost dead last in the entire National Hockey League. Marco Sturm, the new coach for the Bruins, was like, what the hell's going on? Like, we need practice time. I'm trying to implement a new system. We got no practice time to talk to these guys. I'm breaking everything down by video, and video's great, but you need reps, right? And he wasn't getting the reps. He was really frustrated. Then all of a sudden his team catches fire. Ottawa Senators as well. And now, I mean, both those teams, they just can't lose right now. They're very consistent. They found their team game. And I think they're really starting to come together. So you realize that every team goes through so many ups and downs. You just can't hit the panic button. It's about consistency in the National Hockey League, you guys. And the Utah Mammoth, for me, are in a really, really good position, and a position I don't think they've been at in a very long time at Christmas break. And that's the key, right? Getting to the break on a high note. They're coming off a massive win the other night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think it was a franchise record for how they came back in that game. What was it? 4 goals in 6 minutes or something, just crazy. Right. And not against San Jose, not against the bottom feeder team. They were doing it against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who were having one hell of a season. So again, Utah is in a real good spot.
Tyson, as we let you go here, what's coming up on the Nashcast this week? New episodes dropping every Wednesday with you and Mike. Never missed one.
I thought you'd never ask. The busiest man in show business is, first of all, you two. To do this every day. And Fultz, I know you're grinding. You're part of the Nashcast as much as you possibly can. We have Mike Weird, one of my favorite all time. I grew up watching, idolizing this guy. He's a lefty in golf, won the Masters in 2003. Tiger Woods strapped that green jacket on him. Just an unreal human, and a massive, massive Utah Mammoth hockey fan, season ticket holder. He almost was going to come on and co-host for these upcoming Nashcast Altcasts. We got the Devils, and then we have the Winnipeg Jets as well. So we have, for the Devils, we got Cam Jansen coming on in the first period. We have Scott Niedermayer. Scott Niedermayer is coming on, my former teammate, 4-time Stanley Cup champion. I'm doing the research right now. I was just in the hot tub, and that's where my office is. That's my office. I'm sitting in the sunshine doing all these notes. He's got 4 Stanley Cups, guys. 3 with the Devils, 1 with the Anaheim Ducks, where he played with his brother, Chris Pronger, as well, another former teammate of mine. He's got, 2 Olympic gold medals, maybe 3. He's got a World Junior gold medal. This guy has literally, guys, done it all. Hall of Fame 2013 as well. So we have Scott Niedermayer coming on. Wow. We have a couple amazing crashers as well. And then for the Jets, we have another Hall of Famer, you guys, Duncan Keith, coming on the show in the second period for that one. And we're still trying to rally the troops for the Jets game as far as guests go, but I can promise you we will not disappoint. And Fultz, just so you know, and so you feel really bad about this, I am solo against the Devils. I am doing it solo. That is the dance card that we have. This guy is solo, and we are going to be busting out, but it might be the best show of our Nashcast career.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying. So it's going to be you and just trying to entertain the guests. Like, you need a bus driver. You need a play-by-play guy. Us play-by-play guys, we're the responsible ones in the room to keep you guys on track.
Yeah, keep it on the rails, buddy. Keep it on the rails. AD, I might need you to stop in there and come in, throw a few smiles around for the female audience, buddy. Right? Bring that mistletoe of yours. Just keep it away from me. All right? I'm getting a cold sore, so I don't want to pass that on to you. Just kidding.
I do have another Christmas tree in storage that I could bring up to the 5th floor there, Tyson. I've got the Christmas tree with the colored lights that I didn't put up this year because Mike likes the white lights, and it was just the first one I grabbed. But big week coming up on the Nashcast. Again, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Nashcast YouTube page, SEG Plus. We've got Tyson and Mike Weir. And then during the games, Friday and Sunday this week on Mammoth Plus, SEG Plus, the Nashcast, Scott Niedermeyer, Duck and Keith. Can't wait, Tyson.
Cam Jansen. Oh, and Mike Rupp as well. So Mike Rupp, maybe the face of at least the NHL Network. This guy is all over the NHL Network. He knows so much of what's happening around the league. So Rupper's coming in. He was my centerman back in Arizona for a short period. I kept him off the score sheet. I checked him off the score sheet, I should say, for probably 5 to 10 games at the start of that season. He got traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets with Cale House and Jason Chimera at that time. I can't remember who we got back in that trade. It might have been Jeff Sanderson, but doesn't matter. Anyway, he's coming on the show, boys. AD, get some water in that tree, all right? I mean, water's free, buddy. Like, water that bad boy. That thing looks drier than a popcorn fart. Whoa, what's going on back there? Jeez.
Oh, that's great.
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks, boys.
Beauty. Thanks, Tyson. Appreciate you.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Always appreciate Tyson Nash jumping on, our fellow podcaster. He's got the Nashcast podcast. You got Mammoth Daily right here. You got Mammoth Monthly. Catherine Bogart, new episode coming out around the first of the year. Well, let's talk about Captain Clayton Keller. Scored his 11th goal of the season on Wednesday night, early in the second period. Second period's first 5 minutes have been so pivotal for the Mammoth, and they were able to take that early part of the second period and turn it into something for them. Took the lead, never looked back. JJ Peterka picking up a puck, going to Schmaltz, going to Keller. Captain buried it. He had a multiple point game, his team leading 9th of the year, 1 goal and 1 assist. The only player in the contest on Wednesday night that had multiple points. And the captain did a great job dragging the guys into the fight, as head coach Andre Turney says that he does. And, you know, it's been tough losing his father, staying with the team the entire time because he loves his team. It's what he does. Loves hockey, loves his family, knows how much his dad loved watching him play, and knowing that he's watching him from up top. But let's hear from head coach Andre Turney after the game on Clayton Keller here in our third period today.
Kel's, he competes, you know. He I think tonight he wanted to make the difference, you know, and he scored a big goal, made a great play on Stanley's goal. But it's more than that. It's the fight he had, like a little bit you mentioned. And like I just said, I felt like that about our team, and started with our captain.
So head coach Andre Turney on Clayton Keller. Fun Thursday edition. Thanks to Tyson Nash for joining us as our Thursday expert. Thanks to Mike and Nick for that morning after. Friday, we've got our Friday free-for-all, and we'll go over our local hockey scene, tell you about a Utah Mammoth clinic for kids and adults coming up next week. Plus, we've got, I think we're going to do our Mammoth Daily Dictionary, or at least get started on our Mammoth Daily Dictionary. Last week on our Friday free-for-all, we did Mammoth Daily Bingo. I think tomorrow, if we've got our ducks in a row, we'll do our Mammoth Daily Dictionary. Folks, can't believe we're almost to the end of the week, but that just means more hockey coming up. Friday at the Delta Center, 7 o'clock from New Jersey, 5 o'clock with the Winnipeg Jets. Have a good Thursday, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Mike's back with me tomorrow for the full episode. You have yourselves a good one right here on Mammoth Daily.